What if I told you that one traffic stop in South Los Angeles on a Tuesday night in 2017 would expose the largest drug trafficking operation in LAPD history, destroy 3 police careers, save a kidnapped child, and force the entire department to rewrite its training manual? What if I told you the cop who started it all wasn't supposed to be working that night? That she was filling in for a colleague who called in sick? That she almost let the vehicle go? Her name is Officer Rebecca Chern, 29 years old. 5 years on the force, Rampart Division, and on November 14, 2017, at 11:43 p.m., she made a decision that would unravel a conspiracy so deep, so carefully hidden, that even the FBI didn't see it coming. This isn't a story about a hero cop taking down bad guys. This is about what happens when one person refuses to look away, when instinct overrides protocol, when doing the right thing costs you everything. And I'm warning you now. This story has 8 twists. 8 moments where everything you think you know gets flipped upside down. By the end, you'll question whether justice was even served. Stay with me, because this one's different. November 14, 2017. Tuesday night, 11:43 p.m. Officer Rebecca Chern is cruising southbound on Crenshaw Boulevard in her patrol unit. Solo car. End of a 12-hour shift. She's tired. Her feet hurt. She's thinking about the leftover pad thai waiting in her fridge at home. The streets are quiet for South LA. A few stragglers outside the 7-Eleven on the corner of Crenshaw and Exposition. Some kids on bikes despite the hour. The usual. Then she sees it. A black 2015 Chevy Tahoe. Tinted windows. Dealer plates. Rolling through a stop sign at Martin Luther King Boulevard. Most cops would let it slide. It's late. It's a minor violation. There's paperwork involved. But Rebecca's field training officer, a 20-year veteran named Sergeant Paul Dominguez, drilled one thing into her head during her rookie year. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. And something about this Tahoe feels off. She hits the lights. The Tahoe doesn't pull over immediately. It continues for another block, slow and deliberate, before finally stopping in front of a closed laundromat. That's red flag number 1. Innocent drivers pull over immediately. Guilty drivers buy time to hide something, ditch something, or prepare a story. Rebecca calls it in. 7 Adam 15. Conducting a traffic stop. Black Tahoe. Dealer plates David Charles 7392. Crenshaw and 39th Street. Dispatch acknowledges. She's alone. No backup requested yet. This is routine. She approaches the driver's side window. Flashlight in her left hand. Right hand resting on her holster. Standard procedure. The window rolls down. And here's where it starts. The driver is a white male, mid-40s, clean cut, wearing a polo shirt and khakis. Looks like someone's dad. Looks like a youth soccer coach. His hands are at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. He's calm. Too calm. Evening, officer. Was I speeding? His voice is friendly, practiced. License and registration, please. He reaches for the glove box. Slowly, carefully. Hands visible the entire time. He's done this before. Rebecca notices. No nervousness. No fidgeting. Most people get anxious during traffic stops even when they're innocent. This guy, stone cold. He hands her a California driver's license. Name, Michael Brennan. Age, 46. Address in Torrance, a middle-class beach city 20 miles south. The registration matches the Tahoe. Everything checks out. Mr. Brennan, you rolled through a stop sign back at MLK. I'm going to run your information. Be right back. No problem, officer. Take your time. Rebecca walks back to her cruiser. Runs the license and plates. Clean. No warrants. No priors. Vehicles registered to a dealership in Carson, Fletcher Automotive Sales. Legitimate business. She should write the ticket and let him go. But here's twist number 1. She doesn't. Because as she's sitting in her patrol car, writing the citation, she glances up at the Tahoe, and she notices something. The vehicle's riding low, really low, like the suspension's compressed, like there's serious weight in the back. Dealer plates. Heavy load. Calm driver on a Tuesday night in South LA. Rebecca's gut screams. She walks back to the Tahoe. Mr. Brennan, can you step out of the vehicle for me? Is there a problem? Just step out, please. He complies. Still calm. Still cooperative. But as he opens the door, Rebecca smells it. Not drugs. Not alcohol. Something chemical. Faint but distinct. Like industrial cleaner mixed with plastic. What are you transporting tonight? Just some inventory for the dealership. Seat covers. Floor mats. That kind of thing. Mind if I take a look? And here's where Michael Brennan makes his first mistake. He hesitates. Just for a second. just long enough for Rebecca to catch it. I'd prefer if you didn't. It's dealership property, liability issue. You know how it is. Rebecca knows her Fourth Amendment law. She can't search without probable cause or consent. The road stop sign isn't enough. The low suspension isn't enough. The chemical smell, maybe. But a defense attorney would shred it. She needs more. I understand, Mr. Brennan. Let me just walk around the vehicle. Make sure everything's secure for the road. Safety check. She circles the Tahoe with her flashlight. She's looking for anything. Cracked taillight, unsecured cargo, visible contraband. Something to justify a deeper look. And then she sees it. The rear bumper. There's a smudge. Dark, reddish brown. Could be rust. Could be mud. Could be blood. Mr. Brennan, what's this on your bumper? I have no idea. Maybe I clipped something? Didn't notice. Rebecca kneels down. Shines her light. The smudge is fresh. It's not rust. She keys her radio. 7 Adam 15. Requesting backup to my location. Possible 187 investigation. California Penal Code. Homicide. And that's when Michael Brennan runs. He bolts. No warning. No hesitation. Just sprints east down 39th Street into the darkness between two apartment complexes. Rebecca takes off after him, yelling into her radio. Suspect fleeing on foot. Eastbound on 39th, white male, black polo, khakis, she's fast. 5 years of LAPD physical training, but Brennan's faster. He knows the neighborhood. He cuts through a yard, hops a fence, disappears. Rebecca stops at the fence, breathing hard. She's lost him. But here's twist number 2. She doesn't chase anymore. She goes back to the Tahoe. Because if Brennan ran, there's something in that vehicle worth running from. Backup arrives within 4 minutes. 3 patrol units. Sergeant Dominguez. Her old FTO among them. Chun, what we got? Driver fled on foot. Possible blood on the bumper. Vehicles riding heavy. I think there's something in the back. Dominguez walks around the Tahoe. Tests the bumper smudge with a presumptive blood test kit. It reacts positive. Probable cause established. They open the rear hatch. Inside, cardboard boxes. 23 of them. Sealed with packing tape. Each one labeled with a barcode sticker. Dominguez cuts one open. Seat covers. Just like Brennan said. Grey fabric seat covers for Honda Accords. Rebecca's heart sinks. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe Brennan ran because he panicked. Maybe the blood is from a deer strike. Or wait, Dominguez says. He lifts one of the seat covers. It's heavy. Too heavy. He cuts into the fabric. Inside, vacuum-sealed bricks. White powder. Cocaine. Pure. Uncut. 23 boxes. Each containing 12 bricks. 276 kilos total. Street value? Approximately $14 million. But here's twist number 3. That's not all they find. In the front passenger footwell, under the seat, tucked inside a McDonald's bag, a cell phone. Burner phone. Cheap flip phone from a gas station. And it's still on. Rebecca picks it up. The screen shows a text message, sent 20 minutes ago, before she called Brennan over. Delivery confirmed. 12:15 a.m. Warehouse 7. Come alone. And a response, sent 3 minutes ago. Right after Brennan ran. We have a problem. Cops. Abort. Sergeant Dominguez looks at Rebecca. Who the hell is we? November 15, 2017. 1:30 a.m. The Tahoe is impounded. The cocaine is logged as evidence. An APB goes out for Michael Brennan, armed and dangerous, wanted for drug trafficking and evading arrest. Rebecca's shift ended 3 hours ago. She should go home, but she's wired. Adrenaline, the biggest bust of her career. Dominguez tells her to write her report and get some sleep. She nods. But as she's sitting at her desk in the Rampart station, staring at her computer screen, she can't stop thinking about the text message. Delivery confirmed. Warehouse 7. Come alone. Warehouse 7 where? She pulls up the burner phone's call log. Detectives will analyze it tomorrow. But Rebecca's curious. There are 17 calls over the past 2 days, all to the same number. She runs it through the department's database. No hits. Unregistered number. Another burner. Dead end. But then she notices something. One of the calls lasted 43 minutes. Long conversation. And it was made at 3:17 p.m. yesterday, November 13th. Rebecca checks the cell tower data attached to the call. It pinged of a tower near the port of Los Angeles. San Pedro, the docks, Warehouse 7, the port. She opens Google Maps, searches for warehouses near the port of Los Angeles. There are hundreds. Shipping companies, import-export firms, logistics hubs. Too many to narrow down. She's about to give up when she notices a street name on the map. Warehouse Row. a small industrial street near Terminal Island. And right there, clearly labeled Warehouse 7, leased by Pacific Freight Solutions. Rebecca writes it down. She should tell Dominguez, should tell the detectives, should let Major Crimes handle it. But it's 2 o'clock a.m. and Michael Brennan is still out there. And that text said 12:15 a.m. Over an hour ago. If there was a meeting, it's over. If there was a deal, it's done. Unless it's not. Rebecca makes a decision. A stupid decision. A decision that breaks every rule in the LAPD handbook. She drives to the port. 25 minutes later, Rebecca is parked 2 blocks from Warehouse 7. No backup, no radio call, just her. Her block 22. And a very bad idea. The warehouse is massive. Corrugated steel walls, rust stains, no windows. One rolling door big enough to fit a semi-truck. A small side entrance with a flickering light above it. There's a vehicle parked out front. Another black Tahoe. Same model. Dealer plates. Rebecca's heart pounds. This is it. This is the operation. She should call it in. But if she does, whoever's inside will hear the sirens. They'll run. They'll destroy evidence. They'll disappear. She creeps toward the side entrance. The door is unlocked. She slips inside. The interior is dark, cavernous. Her flashlight cuts through the blackness, illuminating rows of metal shelving units stacked with crates and boxes. The place smells like oil and salt water. And then she hears voices. 2 men arguing. She kills her flashlight, moves toward the sound, stays low behind the shelving, telling you, Brennan's compromised. The cops have the shipment. We need to shut this down. We've got 6 more deliveries scheduled this month. We can't just walk away. You want to end up in federal prison? We cut our losses. Now, Rebecca edges closer. Here's around a shelf. 2 men in the center of the warehouse. One is Hispanic, late 30s, wearing a suit. The other is white, older, maybe 60, wearing a Dodgers jacket. And between them, on the concrete floor, a duffel bag, unzipped, stacks of cash inside. Rebecca keys her radio quietly to call for backup, but her radio doesn't work. No signal. The warehouse walls are too thick. She's alone. And then, twist number 4. Her flashlight, clipped to her belt, slips, falls, clatters on the concrete. Both men spin toward her. Who's there? Rebecca draws her weapon, steps into the light. LAPD. Hands where I can see them. The Hispanic man reaches for his waistband. Don't! Rebecca shouts. I will shoot. The older man in the Dodgers jacket raises his hands, slowly, calmly, and he says, Officer Chen, put the gun down. Rebecca freezes. How does he know her name? The man steps forward into her flashlight beam, and Rebecca's blood turns to ice, because she recognizes him. It's Lieutenant Frank Novak, LAPD Rampart Division, her commanding officer. November 15, 2017, 2:47 a.m. Rebecca's gun doesn't waver, but her mind is racing. Lieutenant Novak, 28 years on the force, decorated, respected, 3 commendations for bravery. Her boss, standing in a warehouse with a bag full of cash and a drug trafficker. Put the gun down, Chen. Novak repeats. His voice is calm, paternal, like he's telling her to relax. You don't understand what you've walked into. I understand enough. You're under arrest. The Hispanic man, later identified as Carlos Vega, a lieutenant in the Sinaloa cartel, laughs. She's got balls, Frank. I'll give her that. Shut up. Novak snaps. He turns back to Rebecca. Listen to me very carefully. You're a good cop, smart cop, but you're in over your head. There are things happening here that are way above your pay grade. Hands behind your head, both of you. Now, Novak doesn't move. You radio this in. You're dead. You arrest me. You're dead. You walk away right now. Forget you saw anything, and you get to go home. Simple choice. Rebecca's finger tightens on the trigger. I said hands behind your head. Vega shifts his weight. His hand is still near his waistband. Don't, Rebecca warns him. And then, twist number 5. Another voice echoes through the warehouse. Rebecca, lower your weapon. She spins. Sergeant Paul Dominguez, her FDO, her mentor, standing 20 feet behind her, his own gun drawn. But it's not pointed at Novak or Vega. It's pointed at her. Dom, what are you? Lower your weapon, he says again. No emotion. No warmth. The man who taught her everything she knows about being a cop is aiming a gun at her head. Rebecca's world tilts. You too. Her voice cracks. You're part of this. Dominguez doesn't answer. He just steps closer. Put the gun down, Rebecca. Don't make this harder than it has to be. 3 on 1. No backup. No signal. Rebecca does the math. She could shoot Novak, maybe Vigo, but Dominguez would put two in her back before she turned around. She lowers her weapon. Novak exhales. Smart girl. Vigo grabs her gun. Dominguez zip ties her hands behind her back, and Rebecca realizes she's not walking out of here. Here's what Rebecca learns over the next 3 hours. Lieutenant Frank Novak has been running drugs through the port of Los Angeles for 6 years. He uses his position in LAPD to protect shipments, coordinate deliveries, and eliminate competition. Carlos Vigo supplies the product, cocaine from Sinaloa, heroin from Jalisco. Sergeant Dominguez provides muscle and logistics. The operation is brilliant. Simple, nearly invisible. Fletcher Automotive Sales, the dealership in Carson, it's a front. They import car parts from Mexico. Seat covers, floor mats, bumpers, all loaded with vacuum-sealed drugs. The vehicles have dealer plates, which means they don't get flagged at inspection stations. Once the shipments arrive at the port, they're distributed through a network of delivery drivers like Michael Brennan. Cops pulling over cops never happens. And if a random traffic stop does occur, Novak gets the call from dispatch. He handles it, makes it disappear, except Rebecca didn't call Novak. She called for backup after Brennan ran, and by then, it was too late to contain. You should have let him go, Novak says. He's sitting on a crate, smoking a cigarette, looking at Rebecca like she's a disappointing student. You should have written the ticket and gone home. But no, you had to be thorough. You had to follow your instincts. Rebecca's wrists are bleeding from the zip ties. She's sitting on the cold concrete, back against a metal shelf. Vigo is counting cash in the duffel bag. Dominguez is pacing, agitated. What happens now? Rebecca asks. Novak shrugs. You're a problem. Problems get solved. You're going to kill a cop. We're going to make it look like you were dirty, Novak says. Found dead in a warehouse, surrounded by cocaine and cash. Tragic story. Good cop gone bad. Happens more than you think. No one's going to believe that. They won't have a choice. Dominguez stops pacing. Frank, I don't like this. Killing a cop brings heat. Federal heat. You have a better idea. We cut her in. Give her a piece. She keeps her mouth shut. Novak considers it. Looks at Rebecca. You interested? Rebecca spits at his feet. Novak sighs. Then we don't have a choice. He nods to Vigo. Do it. Vigo pulls a pistol from his waistband, walks toward Rebecca, and that's when the warehouse lights explode on. Floodlights. Blinding. And a voice booms over a loudspeaker. LAPD. Everyone on the ground. Now. Tactical units pour in from every entrance. SWAT. Rifles. Ballistic shields. Vigo drops his gun. Dominguez freezes. Novak tries to run, but gets tackled within 3 steps. Rebecca, still zip-tied, blinks against the lights, confused. And then she sees who's leading the raid. Captain Maria Santos. Internal Affairs Division. November 15, 2017. 6:15 a.m. Rebecca is in an interrogation room at Parker Center, LAPD headquarters. She's been cut loose from the zip ties, given water, a blanket, medical attention. Captain Santos sits across from her. How did you find me? Rebecca asks. Santos smiles. You think we didn't know about Novak? Twist number 6. We've been investigating him for 14 months, Santos explains. We knew he was dirty. We knew Dominguez was involved, but we didn't know how deep it went. Who else was compromised? Where the shipments were coming from. We needed someone on the inside to make a move, to force their hand. Rebecca's stomach sinks. You used me. We protected you, Santos corrects. When you ran Brennan's plates, it flagged in our system. When you called for backup, we monitored it. When you drove to the warehouse alone, which was incredibly stupid. By the way, we followed. You let me walk into that warehouse, knowing they'd try to kill me. We had snipers on the roof. You were never in real danger. I was zip-tied with a gun to my head. Santos leans forward. And now we have Novak, Dominguez, and Vigo on attempted murder of a police officer, drug trafficking, conspiracy, and about 40 other charges. This operation is over. Because of you. Rebecca wants to feel relieved, vindicated, but all she feels is betrayed. What happens now? She asks. You testify. You help us build the case. And when this is over, you'll have your pick of assignments. Robbery, homicide, major crimes, whatever you want. Rebecca shakes her head. I want to go home. But here's twist number 7. She doesn't get to. Because as Captain Santos is walking Rebecca out of Parker Center at 8:30 a.m., an FBI agent approaches. Officer Chern, Agent Nicole Brandt, FBI, I need to speak with you. It's urgent. Santos frowns. She's been through enough. Whatever you need can wait. It can't, Brandt says. She looks at Rebecca. When you searched the Tahoe last night, did you find anything other than drugs? Rebecca thinks back. A burner phone. That's it. Did you look under the rear seats? No. Why? Brandt pulls out her phone. Shows Rebecca a photo. It's a child. A little girl. Maybe 6 years old. Brown hair. Pink pajamas. Terrified eyes. Her name is Sophie Brennan. Michael Brennan's daughter. She was reported missing from her mother's house in Riverside 3 days ago. Amber Alert was issued, but there were no leads. Rebecca's blood runs cold. We think she was in that Tahoe, Brandt continues. We think your traffic stop interrupted more than a drug delivery. We think it interrupted a kidnapping. November 15, 2017, 9 o'clock a.m. The Tahoe is processed again, this time by FBI forensics. They find hair fibers in the rear cargo area, under the boxes of cocaine. Matched to Sophie Brennan, they find a blanket, stuffed behind the back seat, covered in a child's fingerprints, and they find an address, written on a gas station receipt tucked in the glove box. 1847 Industrial Way, Commerce, CA. Brandt assembles a tactical team, LAPD SWAT, FBI hostage rescue. They hit the address within 2 hours. It's an abandoned factory, graffiti-covered walls, broken windows, but inside, recent activity. Food wrappers, sleeping bags, and in a locked back room, chained to a radiator. Sophie Brennan, alive, dehydrated, traumatized, but alive. She's rushed to Children's Hospital Los Angeles, reunited with her mother. And Michael Brennan, he's found 6 hours later, hiding in a motel in Barstow, trying to flee to Nevada, arrested without incident. Here's what the investigation reveals. Michael Brennan wasn't just a drug courier. He was a predator. He had a history, sealed juvenile records, restraining orders from 2 ex-wives. He'd been abusing his visitation rights with Sophie for months. When her mother tried to cut off access, he snapped. Took her, planned to disappear into Mexico using the cartel's smuggling routes. The drug delivery Rebecca stopped. It was supposed to be Brennan's last job, his payment for safe passage. But Rebecca's traffic stop ended it all. Twist number 8. Sophie Brennan wasn't the first. FBI investigators find evidence linking Michael Brennan to 2 other missing children cases from 2015 and 2016, both in Southern California, both unsolved. They're still looking for bodies. December 2017, the trials begin. Lieutenant Frank Novak, guilty on 18 counts, sentenced to 35 years federal prison. Sergeant Paul Dominguez, guilty on 16 counts, sentenced to 28 years. Carlos Vega, extradited to Mexico, sentenced to life. Michael Brennan, guilty on kidnapping, child endangerment, drug trafficking, sentenced to life without parole. Officer Rebecca Chern testifies in all 4 trials. She's hailed as a hero, featured in the Los Angeles Times, interviewed on local news, but she doesn't feel like a hero. She feels like she got lucky, like she ignored protocol, made reckless decisions, and stumbled into something she barely survived. She requests a transfer out of Rampart. Too many ghosts, too many faces she thought she could trust. She's reassigned to Hollywood Division, starts over, and on quiet nights when she's patrolling Sunset Boulevard, she thinks about the traffic stop, about the Tahoe, about the choice to pull it over. What if she'd let it go? What if she'd been too tired, too indifferent, too focused on getting home? Sophie Brennan would be dead. The drug operation would still be running. Novak and Dominguez would still be wearing badges. Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel right. Sometimes it feels like falling off a cliff and hoping you'll end okay. But you do it anyway. January 2018. Sophie Brennan, now 7 years old, is in therapy, recovering. Her mother moves them out of California, starts fresh in Oregon. Before they leave, Sophie's mother writes Rebecca a letter. It's short, simple, just 3 sentences. Thank you for saving my daughter's life. Thank you for not looking away. You're the reason we get to start over. Rebecca keeps the letter in her locker, reads it on bad days, and when people ask her, reporters, other cops, curious civilians, how did you know to stop that Tahoe? What made you suspicious? She tells the truth. I didn't know. I just trusted my gut. So here's the lesson. The thing the LAPD doesn't put in training manuals. Trust your instincts, even when they're inconvenient, even when protocol says let it go, even when your superiors tell you to stand down. Because sometimes, not always, But sometimes, your gut is smarter than the rules. And sometimes, one traffic stop changes everything. Would you have pulled over that Tahoe? Would you have pushed when everything said to walk away? Let me know in the comments. Because the difference between a routine stop and a life saved is sometimes just one decision. One cop, one moment, everything changed.